All right, let's get started, everybody. 'Cause it's about that time. So, as you might already know, today we're going to be covering Tikit's latest feature, which is the service catalog. And before we jump into it, it's probably worth pointing out a couple things, like introducing myself and as well as who's presenting with me today. My name is Adam Dizaki. I'm with the product team here at Cyrison, and I'm responsible for our roadmap and handling feature requests. And I'll be presenting today, and I'm also joined by Jeff Ross, who I'll let introduce himself.
Oh, thanks. I thought you can do my work for me, Adam. There, got to actually do some stuff here. Okay, so yes, my name is Jeff. Yeah, great to be here today. It's great to see loads of names I recognize here in the webinar, but also lots I don't know. So if you don't know me, then very nice to meet you. I'm part of our customer success team, and my role is all about making sure that our customers are successful with Ticket and it's actually making, doing what it needs to do, making their service management functions more productive and more effective.
Uh, Now, Jeff is going to be manning our Q&A today. So if you have any questions throughout any of this, feel free to just throw them into the Q&A. We might answer them during, we might save them till the end. Kind of depends. We'll see where they best fit. But again, always just feel free to drop in your own questions on Q&A. If you do not want us to say your name aloud or any of your company details, right, just include in the message, and we'll handle that accordingly. And it's probably also worth adding that you might have actually interacted with. Oh, go ahead, Jeff. Are you going to say
Well, I
something?
was going to say, I love to interrupt you, Adam, as I was just did then. So that's literally my goal of this webinar is to interrupt Adam as much as I can. So what helps me do that is if you ask questions, I'll interrupt him and ask those questions. I'll voice those for you. So please get your questions in the chat.
That's a fair point. Now, you might have actually met Jeff or I. You might have interacted with one of us. At the end of every month, I run an event called Technically Speaking. It's the last Thursday of every month. It's a customer-only call where we talk about all the features that are coming up, get feedback on things that we're building, or maybe with Jeff and his crew on Ticket Training Tuesdays, which goes over some new features that we release, as well as like how to use them and best maximize them. They are both free. If you're not familiar with either of these events, we'll gladly get you the links. Like we would like to see you there, and we'd like to talk and have feedback. All right, so enough of that. Because as far as agendas go, I would say that we're actually making pretty good time. We already have done intros, and I actually want to jump into the roadmap next before we get into service catalog, because there's there's a couple things that are coming that are going to come back and influence service catalog and enhance it further. And also, it's worth just covering like what we actually have planned for the rest of the year, especially in the event if you have not seen it. So our roadmap for 2025, as you might be already familiar with our roadmap site where you can request features, upvote other ideas, comment on ideas. This is what we have kind of hand selected for the remainder of the year. These are kind of our largest trending ideas, things that we've, again, seen on the roadmap or heard from you directly. It probably goes without saying, service catalog is already out. That's what we're going to be covering today. But some features that we have planned for the rest of the year are around things such as multi-turn cards, which is going to give you the ability to serve one or many cards after the other, so that you can imagine that maybe in a new hire workflow scenario, depending on the department of employee you pick, maybe that requester gets served a second card for additional details. But if they don't pick that department, they never see that card. So multi-turn cards is all about being able to serve one or many cards during that initial ticket creation experience with the requester. We're also looking at bringing more RBAC and more permissions into Ticket and really just across all of Ticket. One of the big things here is that we've heard it'd be great if I could only see my views as an agent. It'd be great if I could create views that were only available to me as an agent, or I could maybe push company-wide views to all agents. This and a couple other things, such as like who can be deflected what, who can see certain items on the service catalog. This is a large set of features and a large set of permissions that actually will be making its way to Ticket, again, also this year that we're currently working on. Another big one, I think it goes without saying, is custom properties. We've heard this for quite some time. We are in the midst of development with it as I speak. But the short of it is that we've heard we know, we want the ability to be able to introduce any number of custom properties to your core ticketing experience as you see fit. If you want to introduce a property called location and make it available on all of your tickets, custom properties is going to let you do that. And any other number of properties that you could think of, whether they're, of course, true, false, strings, text, numbers, dates, times, whatever, you're going to be able to introduce your own custom properties across all of Ticket. And then I'm going to skip this last one. Oh, I'm sorry, one here shortly. But we're also working on group chat, which we're super excited about because we think this is going to change how everyone can interact with Ticket inside of Teams. The best way to probably highlight group chat is that currently everyone is proxying all of their messages through either Tikit Virtual Agent, the email connector, or Ticket. With group chat, what we're looking at doing is actually just bringing that conversation experience directly where you already are in Teams, a group chat. So with group chat, you'll be able to spin up group chats inside of Microsoft Teams. All of the members of that group chat will become affected users, and you can actually shift all of those roles and responsibilities on the back end when you're editing a ticket. If you remove someone from the group chat, they get removed from the ticket. If you remove them from the ticket, they get removed from the group chat. We're really excited about what this could bring, and we're excited to get it out. And the last thing I want to touch on, because we also get questions around this, is we are doing a refresh of our Power Automate connector. We've released a lot of features in the last several months, and we want to make sure that the Power Automate connector is providing parity and parity functionality with what exists in Ticket today. So we have a whole new refresh of the Power Automate connector currently underway. But if you can't wait for that, and you've been following our roadmap in the last couple of weeks, we actually did release something new in the last couple of weeks. And actually, I'm going to go to the next slide. I'm going to pass it back to Jeff real quick to talk about this.
Yeah, thanks, Adam. So yeah, we are very excited to, announce this again. It was announced, a couple of weeks ago, kind of formally through our various channels and stuff, but it's still fairly new. And so yeah, very excited to talk about this. If you love Ticket and you love APIs, then this is literally going to be gold for you. If you love Ticket and don't really know about APIs, this is also gold for you because this is where you can learn about them and test them. More on that in a second. Yeah, the link is there. I'm going to just throw that into a question and I'll reply to it myself in a second so you can click it rather than copy it down. And it's our online documented API collection where you can both browse them and also action them. To the top left, you can actually put in your API token and run those for real. Note, for real. When you do that, you are retrieving your live data in the get actions and you are editing and modifying your live instance in the post and patch action. So do be aware of that fact. You are actually making changes in your ticket instance if you do that. So proceed with caution.
No undos. Not to scare anyone. It's just want to emphasize the nature of this.
Yeah, with great power comes great responsibility, and
It's
that
true.
certainly applies here. Yeah, so hopefully, yeah, if you want to do more integration and automation of Ticket, you want to do actions that in Power Automate that are not in the connector yet, as Adam said, more is coming, then check this out, browse the API collection, see what you think, and let us know both what you think of this documentation. If there's any improvements or feedback on the actual documentation, then we would love to hear that in the usual way. And also, please, also, me and Adam would love to hear what you build based on these APIs. So tell us and we can nerd out on APIs together.
We gladly will. Okay. With that said, that kind of covers some of our housekeeping up. I think it's probably worth just jumping into this. let's just talk about what's a service catalog. Let's talk about like why we're here today and the feature we're going to go over in Ticket. Let's just get into it. So what's a service catalog? Well, in short, it is a way to show and list all of the services that every team, every department within your organization has to offer. So, for example, accounting might provide the reimbursement service. IT might provide password reset requests or create a shared mailbox services. Accounting I'm sorry, actually, I already said accounting, or HR might provide time off requests, right? So all of these departments, all of these teams is a way to have a single unified way to view all of their respective offerings. Because again, don't forget, every single team, every single department has the opportunity to become the service desk to everyone else in the organization. And with the service catalog, you have a way to visualize all of that if you want to.
I think, I think that's important because different people do want to interact with data in different ways. And I think, the virtual agent, the kind of chat experience, text-based, really works for some people. People, are used to that from other sort of technologies and applications. But some people don't get also with that. And when we're looking at your end user base, they're going to have a wide array of different people within that. Just like, you can if you want to be a Windows admin, you can choose to use the control panel, or you can choose to use the command line on PowerShell. You've got those options, and this is really kind of giving you that second option for interacting with Ticket in a more visual, browsy kind of way. I'm looking forward to wrapping up this week as much as I enjoy my job because I'm going on vacation next week. And I've been spending my evenings this week looking for some new Kindle books to read whilst away. And what's great is, I can search for a book if I know one I want to use. I can search bit by sort of genre and authors I know. But also, it's great about the Kindle store is you can browse. You can just look through what's going on, and that's what the service catalog is. It's a way to browse the offerings available to from IT or other departments within Ticket.
Yeah, I think that's an important distinction to make because we've heard the question before of, oh, does this replace Tikit Virtual Agent? Or why would I use this over Tikit Virtual Agent? And it's important to recognize that this is not a service catalog versus Teams chat or Tikit Virtual Agent. This is service catalog and those
Yeah.
other experiences. It's just one more experience you have to be able to bring to your respective requesters, again, throughout the organization.
Yeah.
And
Ticket's
I
always
guess
been about giving different choices to different people because people work in different ways. Teams, web, email, the way I want to interact with tickets. As an agent, I can, even in Teams, I can work in the one-on-one chat with Ticket. I can work in the channel. Like we all about giving choices where you want to work. And this is just another way, another option for your requesters to choose if they want to operate in this way.
I'm going to do my best not to talk about group chat again. So with that said, actually, it's probably worth swinging over to a demo where I can actually walk through the service catalog, at least my service catalog, and some of the verbiage that comes along with a service catalog. So I'm going to stop presenting here, and I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to let Jeff confirm that he can see it.
I can see it.
Flip that on. I believe everyone else can see it too, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, we're good to go.
So let's talk about the service catalog. Let's talk about my service catalog in this case. So a service catalog in this case is made up of one or many service offerings. And a service offering are the kind of like these high level buckets that I have to group my request offerings and knowledge articles. So in this case, excuse me, I have two service offerings. One is called IT support. The other one is called HR. And you can see that I actually have, here's a couple offerings that IT provides to the organization, and here's a couple of offerings HR provides to the organization. And I also have some knowledge articles in here as well. Now, up until this point, on the requester portal, which is how you experience the service catalog today, up until this point, you've seen a list of tickets and maybe approvals that are waiting for you on the requester portal. And you could search to find tickets that you've submitted or maybe approvals that are waiting on you. With the introduction of Service Catalog, search also extends itself into all of the available offerings and knowledge articles. Because if I were to type, let's say, VPN, what's going to happen is I'm going to quickly search to see what are the tickets I've submitted about a VPN. In this case, none. But I'm also going to see the one knowledge article that is available in my service catalog now that I've searched that. So search functionality also expands its way into the service catalog, no matter how big or small your service catalog might be. Now, something else that we can also do on the service catalog, and it's been this way for, well, a while, because it's been this way on the requester portal, is that I can add a request. I can let users create requests. And if I were to say, what is the Wi-Fi password? And I click on request, I actually experience deflection the same way that I would experience it in Tikit Virtual Agent inside of Teams. Now, this in and of itself is not new functionality with the service catalog. In fact, I'm highlighting this for a couple different reasons. And the reason is that, well, the default behavior is deflection. But with the introduction of service catalog, we've actually given you a couple more ways to alter this behavior. So again, the default experience is deflection. If I want to change that though, all I have to do is head over into ticket settings and specifically my ticket configuration. And you can see that I have two sections here. I have the request portal and its respective add request action. And I can also turn the service on and off if I want. Now on the add request action, again, I can have this as ticket deflection. I could also have this as create ticket. And if I click on save and I set this to create ticket, let's go back to the service catalog. I'm going to refresh this page. And when I do that, and I click on add request, now I have a very different experience. Instead of providing deflection to a requester that could be clicking on add request, now they get a Teams card. They get a Teams adaptive card. And you can see that it has the multi-department picker, the request field. They can add attachments to the new ticket that they create, again, just like in Teams. And best of all is that should you choose to customize this experience, well, a couple releases ago, we actually made that possible because one of the default templates that is now available inside of Tikit is the default requester create ticket template. And you can see this is actually how I can control this experience. And this is the same one that you experience inside of Tikit Virtual Agent and inside of the requester portal. So whatever changes you make here are immediately propagated to both of those end user experiences. And then the last but not least, I could also hide the add request functionality. Now I'm going to save this, and I think it's probably pretty clear what's going to happen at this point given the naming. So the question is, why would I hide this? And I have some opinions, but I mean, Jeff, is there anything you wanted to chime in with about why you might want to hide this?
Because, let me come
Any
back on camera.
thoughts?
I think it's interesting. It's around that kind of end user kind of psychology, which I actually really love discussing and wish I kind of knew even more about. But if you want to ensure that people are selecting from your catalog and can only raise tickets against things that you want to let them, then that would be why you would turn that off, hide that option, and then have to drive through the catalog to raise a ticket. Stops you getting that crazy off the wall ad hoc requests. Now maybe you want that, but maybe you don't, and that's why you might use that.
And that's exactly what I was going to say too. No, seriously, I was. Rather than, let's say, if someone wanted to create a shared mailbox, maybe they don't experience deflection, maybe they, you don't want to have ad hoc tickets. Exactly like Jeff said, maybe I want to force them to browse or search the service catalog. If I were to click on create a shared mailbox, you can see here's my new shared mailbox request. Again, just like I would experience inside of Teams, but now made available in the service catalog. So the next question, though, is how do I get request offerings? Also, what is a request offering? And how do I get knowledge base articles into these service offerings? How do I even edit or create a service offering?
Adam, before you pivot to that, because I've got a question here on the search, which I didn't quite catch you in time before you moved away. Does the search find both open and closed tickets? Was the question.
I believe it is actually dependent upon this toggle if you want to show closed tickets or not and include that. So I want to jump into service offering because I'm looking at the clock and I realize like I have a little bit of time left. How do I modify service offerings? Well, inside of ticket settings, if I go back again to ticket settings, service offerings, here's my list of service offerings. And you can see that I have a couple. I can rearrange these. I can also archive or delete them. I could show my archived service offerings. And if I click into one, this is how I can edit it. So you can see that I can give it a name. Actually, I want to just call that IT. The description's fine. It's automatically expanded. Has an icon. Okay. But I also want to create one here while I'm here. So let's do that. I'm going to say I want to create accounting. This is contains all of the offerings that accounting provides. I'm going to leave this unchecked by default, automatically expanded. I'm not going to have this automatically expand. You'll see what that means in a second. And we also have a default service offering icon, which you are free to change. So that's how I create a service offering. And you can also notice that I can rearrange these. Those changes are saved instantly. And when I go back to the service catalog and I refresh, I won't see it.
Uh-oh, demo's gone wrong.
And the reason I don't see it is because, again, I don't have any published request offerings or published knowledge articles related to this service offering. So it's not enough that I just have a published service offering. I have to start linking other published content to it. And to do that, we're going to head over to the agent portal. We're going to head over into the agent portal and head over to service catalog. Now, if you've been a customer with us for a while, you'll know that this was actually formerly called the knowledge base. This is where you had just knowledge articles. We've since now promoted this into the service catalog. It now contains all of your knowledge, all of your templates, all of your request offerings, and also synonyms and Chat Studio, which you're probably familiar with. Now, when I create an entry, when I create a catalog item in here, I can define the phrases and the response just like you've come to expect through Tikit Virtual Agent to have that deflection. But what I can do now is actually promote these items, whether it be some of them or all of them, into my service catalog. So I actually have this one right here. I think this is an accounting thing. Yeah, statement correction, end of month processing. It's an active article. It's agent only. But I want to promote this into a request offering. All I have to do is click on enable request offering, and you'll see that this lights up. And I'm going to say this is paperwork corrections. Find out more information about how to correct previously submitted paperwork. And here's where I can now link this to a service offering, which is my mouse. Is my mouse acting up? Let's try that again. Counting, paperwork correction. Here is the description. And I'm going to click on save. And again, just like before, we're going to retrain our service catalog. We're going to retrain that knowledge base so that, again, Tikit Virtual Agent knows how to deflect, but also when we come back to the service catalog, what's actually made available to all of our respective end users. Now, again, you'll recall that when I created the accounting service offering, I said it was not expanded by default, and that's exactly what I see here. When I click it, I do get that expand, and I can see that here is that paperwork correction knowledge base offering. Now, as far as a request offering goes, this is a knowledge base article. As far as a request offering goes, and maybe something else I want to add in here, let's do a reimbursement template. Because here's another catalog item, but instead of returning knowledge, it returns a template. Again, very similar to what you would experience through deflection inside of Tikit Virtual Agent. If I were to enable this request offering, to come in here, let's make this accounting. You can see I actually already filled this out. Click on save. It's going to retrain. I'm going to come back over to my service catalog, and when I refresh, again, accounting will be collapsed because that's what I set the service offering to. But now that service offering contains my reimbursement request as well as my paperwork correction knowledge base article. Now, again, something else that's actually worth highlighting here is that one of those was an agent-only article. And something that we actually respect inside of the service catalog is that agent-only flag. So if I were to actually go to another user who is not an agent, and I just so happen to have one, and see that Adele only sees the reimbursement request, but she does not see the paperwork correction knowledge base entry. And if this sounds a little bit like permissions or RBAC, this is absolutely the start of that. And this is one of those fields that, again, call back to the roadmap, where we will be bringing more permissions and scoping into to control who can see what on the service catalog. I got 3 minutes to go. It's probably worth checking the Q&A.
We're good. But obviously, if anyone has any questions, please get them in the last few minutes and we'll get them addressed.
But if not, that's okay.
That is fine. Well, let's just, whilst maybe someone's writing one, I'll just say that if you have a question that you don't get to ask today, you run out of time or didn't think of it and you think of it later, or you didn't want to ask it in this kind of forum, then please do still ask it. You can email help@sargent.com and then we'll get you to the right person to answer that question.
Or also certainly reach out to us respectively. We'd love to hear from you. Again, I know Jeff put out the links for Ticket Training Tuesdays as well as Technically Speaking. So can certainly bring stuff up there. Again, all customer focused calls. So it's us and all customers. So great way to obviously hear about new things that are coming out and also be able to, well, plot and conspire with things that you're building with other people, maybe some tips and tricks you want to share. I know people have shared their card template JSON in some of those calls because they've achieved like some really cool adaptive cards. So yeah, it's a good time. With that said, I don't see any other questions. So again, as always, feel free to reach out to us. Everybody, thanks for coming by. Have an awesome rest of your day.
Bye, everyone. Thanks for joining.